Good evening, everyone. I'm Akushla Pinder. It's wonderful having you back with us. The leader, the chairman, and one of its MPs, PLP, is coming down heavy on the Prime Minister following his response to whether WSC board member Bennett Minnis has resigned following racial and homophobic slurs hurled against PLP Chief Philip Davis and Chairman Fred Mitchell in a voice note that went viral. The Prime Minister on Monday told reporters he thinks the matter was dealt with by many members of his party, adding that he doesn't think he needs to say anything else about the matter. Mr. Davis has since condemned the comment as waffled, deflected, and buckled. You see, Mr. Davis contends that instead of dismissing Mr. Minnis, the Prime Minister condoned the comments by refusing to condemn his cousin and campaign general. PLP MP Glenys Hannah Martin agrees, charging that the debate surrounding the issue should have never taken place, as Mr. Minnis should have resigned without being asked or demanded to, a sentiment Mr. Mitchell echoed.
Before making this comment, I had written the Minister of Works this morning to confirm, because I wanted clarification as to what the Prime Minister's remarks made. They seem so flaky and wobbly. I needed to know what he meant by handled. And the only thing we needed to know is Mr. Minnis still a member of the board? And the Minister confirmed that he is still a member of the board. So as far as we're concerned, nothing has been handled. It is the same as it was when the racist remarks were first made.
Mr. Mitchell says the opposition will not give up in this regard.
You can think of all the range of options which are available to a party to legitimately protest an event. This is a question of morality and ethics, and we think the Bahamian public stand with us quite firmly on this. And if this government continues to adopt as they have this behavior, then it says something about them, and I think they will have to move on the subject.
In other news this evening, a multi-million-dollar contract executed for the Elbow Key Dune Stabilization Project in South Abaco. Greeting residents with the much-welcomed news this morning was Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis. Just to take you back a bit, in 1999, Hurricane Floyd wrought significant damage, resulting in loss of beach sand in front of the dune. Since then, there have been several attempts to reconstruct the dune. However, along came Hurricane Irene and a subsequent tropical storm in 2011 with more damage. As the Prime Minister explained, this led to a sharp and dangerous drop-off, reducing traffic to one lane in some sections. Immediate action, then, is crucial to avoid potential loss of life and property and to mitigate shoreline erosion. 6 pre-qualified construction companies were invited to tender. Prime Minister Minnis says Bahamas Marine Construction Limited came in with the lowest bid. The company, well known throughout the country, will carry out the work at a cost of $3.2 million. According to the Prime Minister, approval has also been given for a contingency sum due to the nature of the work, where there is a high risk of unforeseen subsurface construction conditions. The project's expected to be completed within 30 weeks. Stiffer penalties for those found breaking the fisheries law, and if Marine Resources Minister Michael Pintard's timeline's correct, this should be the case by the end of the year. This based on the plan to bring a proposed schedule of penalties to the House of Assembly when it returns in October. The minister revealed as much during a press briefing announcing the opening of the crawfish season, at the time stressing that the laws will be enforced.
Law enforcement has to be vigilant. We will have additional officers available, as well as we will educate all other law enforcement agencies, those that certainly can be deputized as fisheries officers. All of them will be made aware of the regulations. We have a very good working relationships with U.S. authorities, and they are prepared to educate their citizens with respect to the measures that we are going to be taking.
Now, crawfish season opens tomorrow, a lucrative period for local fishermen. Last year's numbers show that 4.3 million pounds of the popular shellfish were caught, pulling in $67.9 million. As usual, though, there are certain things to keep in mind during the harvesting period. First of all, the legal size limit for harvested crawfish, tails 5.5 inches, whole crawfish 3.25 inches. All commercial fishing vessels 20 feet and larger must be licensed for commercial fishing by the Department of Marine Resources. Further, it's an offense for any vessel of that size, whether commercial or recreational, to have 250 pounds or more of marine resources without first being licensed. Also, if there's a need to use a dive compressor, a permit is also required, and the device can only be used in depths of 30 to 60 feet.
We did not intend to issue compressor permits to persons from other countries who seek to dive associated with commercial fishing vessels. Only Bahamian-owned fishing vessels are allowed in the sector. Under no circumstances would compressor permits be issued to persons who are on work permits. And so let me pause to really elaborate on this, and this is an important point. To date, we have not issued any compressor permits to persons who are on spousal permits either. The government is taking a policy decision to go back to the practice of protecting this sector for Bahamians. And while this minister is awaiting the written cabinet conclusion with respect to it, we have no intention from this ministry standpoint to issue any compressor permit to non-Bahamians unless otherwise directed by the cabinet of the Bahamas.
Crawfish season wraps up March 31st, 2020. Well, no chance of poachers getting back their vessels. While no timeline's been given, Minister Pintard making it clear that the boats will be destroyed.
The vessels will be sunk. An announcement will be made shortly on the date. The media would have an opportunity, as well as other stakeholders, to witness it, but we will sink those vessels. The dinghies from those vessels will be distributed to a number of communities, fishing communities, for use by fishers to continue their work.
This past December, 18 Dominican poachers were apprehended and their vessels seized. Earlier that same year, 172 Dominican poachers and 4 Dominican fishing vessels with over 100,000 pounds of fishery products were taken in. The poachers were subsequently found guilty and sentenced to time ranging from 6 to 18 months at the Bahamas Department of Correctional Services. The group was fined a total of approximately $7 million. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.
This segment of the news was brought to you by Alive.